Soul Garden. Live, love, be.
Good morning! From my smartphone to yours, I'm Lovecasting live from the Serious Joy Garden Studios in Costa Mesa, California, and this is your Hump Day Namaste today. Good morning and Namaste, and welcome to Namaste today. My name is stepº26. I'm your host, life coach, and I call myself the Sensei to Serious Joy. My mission is to stand in my heart and help other people into theirs. This webisode is for Wednesday, November 18th, 2015, and today the great human walk has progressed to step 26 Scorpio. Now, if you've been watching my show for a while, you know that the human race does nothing but walk in cycles and circles over and over and over again. That's really what the states of awareness are and what astrology is. It is that consciousness gradually shifts throughout the year, and the ancient Babylonians were the first civilization that started to note that consciousness shift during the year, and the only thing they had to take notes with was the stars. So they drew imaginary pictograms with their heads to remind them that this was April or this was May. That's really how astrology and the states of awareness began to evolve in our consciousness, and where we are now in our cycle and circle is what we call the Scorpio vibration. This is the part of human consciousness that draws the line, and in the next 36 hours, I argue, you will likely draw a major line in your life. This may be a small line at first that turns into a gigantic change, that one small step for mankind sort of thing, right? Or this may be that things have been going too far, too long, and you're drawing a major line for everyone here now to see forever. All right. Now, my nervousness of this time deals with the fact that we want to be very conscious about the type of lines we draw. The nervousness comes from really the recent Paris attacks. I say that just because of the world's sudden response at the end of Scorpio to go to war with terror again. You know, my wise sensei inside says, I don't know, maybe we should hold back, maybe we should think about this for a minute. Of course, we can't speak for France, but some of the disturbing things I'm seeing is a lot of things in the press talking about how all search and seizures have been stopped are allowed immediately in France, and that's almost to me like over and over in the media telling us that one day we may have illegal search and seizure due to terrorism. So, Sensei and me says to you as a watcher, as a walker in light, to be very conscious right now. We are pouring cement and we don't know it. We've been down these different paths before, and it's very vitally important that we are very vocal about what we believe the line should be or not should be. Now, that is both, I think, on Facebook and on your Twitter, so that all these politicians can count up your votes there, and I think it's important in your daily lives right now. Now, that said, I don't mean to be so serious, but step 26 does rule the day, and that's what it's about. It's a serious day. When I say serious and serious joy, I'm really speaking to Saturn. Saturn is the serious, and Saturn is necessary. In fact, it's my opinion, as far as serious joy is concerned, that the way we reach serious joy is we get serious about our joy. That Saturn has to support something. It should support our joy. Well, today, you'll be making decisions with your Saturn energy. You'll be deciding and drawing some sort of line. And due to the architecture of incarnation and the planets we'll talk about in a couple of minutes here, it's likely many things at once, this one line, this one decision. It may be a small decision, it may be a big decision, but as we're going to talk about, it affects many things. But first, let's talk about today's topic, which is probably obvious, but I really just can't let my viewers go without really talking about it, which is the topic of protecting decisions. When you're about to make a decision, what are the boundaries necessary to protect one's decision? In fact, a lot of times people are, quote, misguided or go down paths in their life they don't want to go down or end up places they don't want to go because they haven't taken the time and space, step 0, to make a decision, step 8. All right? So if you don't take that time and space, step 0, to make the decision, step 8, all right, then what happens is once you're in play, once you're bouncing off reality, once you're at the crystal ball, once you're at the dance ball, once you're at prom, like wherever you end up in that moment, that magical moment, if there's not a decision already planted in your head, then things carry out accordingly. So you don't always have to literally put your foot down in order to have power of a decision and to see its effect. It will have effect. Reality will honor it, as you'll see. And today I think we're making a very important decision. So in the architecture of protecting our decisions, we should know that, hey, decision making at large is something that needs to be protected. We all need time and space to say, you know what, let me think about that. I've learned over time, I have a very quick mouth, as you can see. There's no problem talking forever and ever. And so I would open my mouth and commit to things way too soon. And I eventually learned, oh, I need a boundary here. The boundary is, or the protection is, I'll get back to you. And that's me going, I'm going to need a lot of time to meditate on that because I need to think before I make that commitment, right? Another interesting thing about boundaries I want to talk about, and decisions and boundaries around decisions and protecting them, is I've learned as a step 18 Taurus, notice the 8, that means I'm a living decision. That's a leader. Anyone with 8s in their chart, that's leadership, because you can decide. And that's because you understand Capricorn. You have no problems making a decision. You've ridden the Capricorn horse. But I have always, been a decision maker, and some of the problems I've had as a decision maker has been fear of making the wrong decision. But I've also noticed as a manifester that if I don't make a decision, step 8, if I skip step 8, the decision-making process to manifestation, all right, if I skip that step, then of course when my manifestation gets into play, something could go wild that I didn't expect. That's what I meant earlier when I was talking about. So how do you make a decision and not make a decision? And that's really what the universe is asking us, always to be and not be. Right? So the answer is, I think you have to create a boundary. And the boundary is, okay, the boundary is, okay, I hereby declare as the king of my world, right, and you're the queen or king of yours, that I'm going to decide this, and we're all going to do it right now inside of me. But I may change my mind later. So I decide, and I plan to change my plan. That's been my motto since. I always make a plan, and I plan to change my plans. This is the plan. We're moving forward. I've decided. But if I find new evidence, I'll make a new decision. So to me, that's actually a boundary issue. That's a boundary issue around a decision. That's it. That's one of the skill sets you learn when you have your sun in the 10th house, if you guys know what that means. So let's bring it to today's 5 o'clock question. And I do want to say with total glee that I very quietly launched the new personal sensei service over the weekend for just our beta subscribers. It's only available just to our betas right now. But this show is designed to be the first thing you see in the morning when you're a subscriber to Sirius Joy. And this show is designed to kind of integrate. So we have the 5 o'clock question. And today, for the first day, the 5 o'clock question in your personal sensei service will be exclusively for you. So, looking at your 5 o'clock, and that means that we have a 5 o'clock question in the show, and then the one for you gets even deeper, when you get to your phone and you check out your text. So the first question is, what reality does your heart want in 2016? What reality does your heart want in 2016? I did a lot of meditation on this to help you guys. Just keep it to 2016. Second follow-up. Did you decide on that reality based on flow or fear? Based on flow or fear. Okay? So I'll answer my own questions, and I'll explain why in the astrology segment, why I came up with this after this. But what reality does my heart want? Well, I've said it before, I'm saying it again. I'm going to light walk across America, and I'm going to visit viewers and subscribers to Sirius Joy in 2016. So I'm gearing up for that, and I'm looking to meet the people that watch on the other end of this phone, from my phone to yours. So it's like I want to see who's on the other end of these phones and connect. That's my reality. Did I decide based on flow or based on fear? I decided based on flow. That would be what would flow and be awesome the most. And that's, I think, how everyone needs to make decisions whenever they make decisions. That's another little tip from a Sun in the 10th house guy who makes decisions and loves making decisions, step 18 guy also, is that you decide based on what flows easiest, not based on what you fear. All right, so I'll give you another example of this as far as flow versus fear. A lot of people, will make a decision because they're afraid the money will run out. They're afraid something will go wrong. They're afraid, and they decide based on that. That is the wrong decision-making to base it on. The way to make a decision is, hey, is everything flowing okay here? Is everything balanced and secure? Is the natural state of awareness here chill? Well, then that's flow. We want to decide based on the flow. And I argue to always protect and decide around the flow. That's either a flow of money, a flow of emotion, support, love, whatever. Whatever the flow is, that's where obviously law of attraction is happening, right? And you can build. Those become joints. If those aren't the full source of everything, they're a joint, they're a leg, they're a piece of the organization, they're a part that will help you. And sometimes, American greed in particular will want it all now, and they're also basing it on fear, and they're not basing on, well, this part's really working right now. And sometimes we let this part go and we don't build on it, right? So decide based on flow or fear. I've made a decision. I used to base my decisions on fear, and then I learned to base my decisions on flow, and it took a couple of minutes of faith, but it's always worked out. So let's take a look at the planets, and without further ado, a psychic look at you, and talk to my guides real quick before I send you off on your day. Interesting. So what's interesting is that I'm not going to explain the process there, but little birds were chirping over my shoulder, and it's so interesting how the whole orchestra of life works. But when you meditate, when you connect to your guides, if something comes into your attention, your job is not to force it out. Your job is to go, why? Why did this come into my attention? And to read it. Well, birds came in, and it led to a whole thing that brings it down to Mercury. Don't ask me how I bring it to Mercury. That's my crazy brain. But Mercury right now is at step 26 with the sun. The sun and Mercury have been hanging out. That is our heart, the sun, with the smart-ass Mercury, our mind. And we have, remember, a psychic mind and a logic mind. Those are the two brains of the Gemini. And so our whole mind and our whole heart are working together, and they are actually conjuncting, as we say, Saturn, because I believe in a 10-degree orb. In fact, the two are working in harmony to manifest right today as of the conjunction. So this said, and we're going to get closer and closer and closer as the days go by, which means from today's decision, it gets executed. The point really is of all this is that the decision today is a mindful decision, okay? At the end of the day, your mind is making the call, okay? Listen to your heart, which is the sun right next to you, because that's the mind's job, is to listen to the heart. The mind's job is not to have its own opinion. It's just a smart ass. It'll always smart off, and it'll always have something smart to say after that. That's its job. And if you look at the sign your Mercury is in, you'll know what kind of personality your mind has, okay? So it's got a mind of its own. So today, remember who works for who. Mercury rotates around the sun. The mind works for the heart. The mind must ask the heart, what do you want, your honor? What do you want, your majesty? Because the heart is the royal part of us. That said, from that point, what answers in us are feelings. All right? And what the astrology shows today is when your feelings decide, that moon is in Aquarius, which means that our emotions have the ability today to make a hard call and hold to it. It's like a very stoic George Washington, all right, that's it. So once your emotions decide, they're going to grip. And that forms what we call a yod pointing into Jupiter today at step 19 Virgo, which means basically God has set up this little electrical storm that's as soon as you decide, the wish is granted. Just like bewitched. All right, so, and the other side of the odd for those who like to know is Uranus in Aries, which means the new man or new wombed man is born. Hallelujah, right? So this is a powerful time, and the decision is great. And in whatever it is in your life, Venus is at step 11, so it's like if you're out of integrity, you're making the wrong decision. If you're out of balance, it's the wrong decision, all right? Mars is at step 3. If it's something you don't believe, it's the wrong decision. Now, this may be common sense, Sensei says, right? But we forget these common sense sort of things. And the planets today are just hitting common sense. That's a Liberace kind of note. I say Liberace because my ring looked big there. Then lastly, I will say for the last time, for a while. But whatever you decide, yes, you're breaking the rules most likely. If you are doing the right thing for yourself, it probably is breaking rules. The rules of the way you were born, the rules of the way you were raised to believe is supposed to be, the rules of the way we're being told is supposed to be. That is the time of Pluto at step 13, the revolutionary number. Okay? And so we are all re-evolving our soul. All right, my friends, it's time to let you go just for now. But I must say, the kindest thing you can do, if you care, please share. Now that all my eggs are in a row, I think it's time to get the message out to people who need to be reminded of who they really are. So the kindest thing you can do is share my show with your friends and family, especially if they just need a little pick-me-up. Right? Also, you can follow me on Twitter at @SeeWhatTechie, and you can visit me on my little mothership of light, which is soulgarden.tv. All right, friends, I'll see you tomorrow. Remember, I love you, and live, love, be.